Well, hey there. Greetings, salutations, all of that. My name is Jules, and today I am decorating a nursery for 2 infant girls. I have to be honest and tell you that I'm not actually feeling very chatty today, so I'm just going to freestyle it and see what comes out of my mouth. Good luck to all of us. Now, first of all, I admit that this room is very awkwardly shaped. It's basically a narrow, long room. It used to be 2 bedrooms. This family had one older daughter and toddler twins when I started playing them, and the 2 girls shared a room, and the boy of the twins had his own room. Those kids are all adults now with children of their own. In fact, 2 of them have teens, so yeah, we're that kind of family. And when those kids moved out, they adopted a son. And then I guess mom kind of went through a midlife crisis because she decided to call her oldest daughter and ask her if she should have a baby. And I thought, well, what the heck? That makes for fun gameplay. So, of course, we said yes. And no, she didn't have twins. This was before the whole infant update thing when newborns would stay newborn for, I think it was like 3 days. So a day or 2 later, she called again. And this time we said, well, that's up to you, but apparently mom thought that 1 baby wasn't enough, so now she basically does have twins. And I figured I should get the room ready for whenever I decide to play them again. Oh, side note, this is my off-screen gameplay, just like my normal everyday Sims game. I don't think I mentioned that before. I knew I did not want this entire room to be pink. I wanted it to be girly, and I absolutely wanted to use that floral wallpaper from the Maximalist kit. I always forget what it's called. Something to the max, I think. And then I decided to paint the other 3 walls this green shade that I kind of pulled from that wallpaper on the accent wall. So I wanted it to have girly vibes, so to speak, stereotypically, because obviously there's no such thing as girly or boy or masculine or feminine vibes. It is what it is, and you like what you like, and that's totally cool. But again, from a stereotypical standpoint, I wanted it to feel like a girl's room because this is kind of an annoyingly traditional family, but I didn't want it to be so in your face that it was pink. So 2 things I almost always include in a nursery: the cloud light. I don't know why. I just always use that. And a soft rug like this one. I'm not going to lie. I really did have a lot of trouble getting the layout right for this room. And I'm not actually sure I'm 100% happy with it because, like I said before, it is a really oddly shaped room. But boy, did I have fun with the furniture. Not so much the cribs. These are pretty much the only cribs I ever use because I only have base game, and the rest of the cribs are either really freaking ugly or, well, I don't know. That other one I was looking at, I kind of feel like it just looks like a banister, like somebody chopped up a stairwell and put it together and called it a crib. But this dresser from high school years, and oh my gosh, I haven't used like any of the stuff from high school years, but every time I accidentally come across a piece, I freaking love it. The patterns are so much fun. And as I'm scrolling through them, I realize that not all of them were going to work in this room, but I will definitely be using them in my other build. I felt like this blue one was perfect because that shade of blue is also in the wallpaper. And hey, it basically matches the windows, which I didn't want to change because then it would change the color of them on the outside of the house and it just looked bizarre. I could have pretended it was completely renovated, but I actually really like the blue color with the stone that I have outside, so I decided to keep that. And of course, what nursery would be complete without a rocking chair? I used to really like the colors in Nifty Knitting in the furniture, but as we've been getting better packs, they're kind of ugly. So basically, the only one that I could use is the white one. The only one that went with the rest of the room in any way, shape, or form. And I wanted the girls to have a Blarfy, but not a Blarfy, so I was kind of deciding between the cat and the unicorn, and I went for the unicorn, but actually don't really like the way that the colors looked of any of the swatches with the room. So instead, I end up going for this, like, what is it, like a Sasquatch thing from, the Little Campers kit. And I love him. That's something else I just like accidentally came across recently, and I just use him in like all of my infant and toddler builds because I think it's the cutest freaking thing. The only thing is that I had a hard time deciding what color I wanted the Yeti Sasquatch thing to be. because I wanted to be coordinated. And at this point, this is the one I chose, but I do end up changing the color later once I get the decorations up. I wanted a rug on this side of the room as well because I'm thinking of it as like a play area for the little one. I just couldn't quite get any of the swatches for this infant rug to work. So I do end up going with the smaller, I think it's called Baby's First rug or something like that. There's definitely a lot of different colors and patterns going on in this room, but I think it works. Let me know what you think. Do you like it? Is it too much? And by the way, I really wish I could slot something into that space on the dresser to this side of the drawers. But for some reason, nothing would go in there. I don't know if it's supposed to or if I was just trying to put the wrong items in there. But I thought it would be cute to put like a stack of diapers in there or maybe even just a toy. Now, the only very minor problem with this Baby's First rug thing is how absolutely tiny it is. It's kind of ridiculous. It looks really silly in the space. So obviously, I'm going to have to size it up when I use it. I was a little worried that the images were going to get pixelated, but I think they turned out okay. Just couldn't make it too big. So there we go, sizing it up, and I'm going to go ahead and rotate it. And then I think it's adorable. Again, just my opinion. But I love animal stuff, and especially like foxes and things like that in nurseries. I wanted to give the girls a dollhouse, and it had to be this one. I almost never use this dollhouse in my builds, but it's the one that, felt the best. And of course, I'm sizing it down because the dollhouses are ridiculously large, and in this narrow little room, it wouldn't fit. So this is the part where I decided that they needed 2 Blarfy-sized toys, one for each. So I decided to put the kitty, Mr. Puds or whatever his name is. Sorry, my vision's not good enough to read it on the screen right now. And once he was settled into place, I wanted to get the details in order, start adding some decorations. I really like this print set, but none of the swatches were quite the right color. There was a couple with like cow print that I think worked okay, but I'm not really a huge fan of the cow print, so I decided not to use this one. I think this swatch is probably my favorite, and I will probably use it in another room at some point, but just not today. And then I decided to try out these prints from Parenthood, which I actually thought the style of worked really well. It kind of gave me the vibe of like maybe it was the baby's initials, but again, the colors didn't quite work out right. And while I don't mind mixing patterns, I don't want too many colors because I think it just looks gaudy. I also tried this from Decor to the Max, and I really wanted this one to work because I love the idea of having plants in a baby's room, but none of the colors worked, or it was just too harsh for the room. I didn't want it to be cutesy, but I also still wanted it to give the vibes of, a child's room and at least be like mellow. And this is far from mellow. So we decided not to go with that one either. At that point, I was getting a little frustrated, so decided to come back to the art and instead go ahead and put Baby's First bookshelf on this wall. My only complaint about this bookshelf, because I think it's adorable and perfect, but I think it should automatically slot lower on the wall because I kind of have this like Montessori mindset where I think the babies should be able to choose their own books and look at them whenever they want. And after giving it some thought, I knew exactly which art I wanted, and I wanted it to be pretty simple. So I went for this one from Tiny Living. And again, here's another fox because, like I said, love foxes in nurseries, especially little girls' nurseries for whatever reason. And I think the colors on that work out so well. And then on the other side of the room, I'm going to put another picture. And I kind of went through to see which one I wanted. I realized later that the one I pick, the frames don't match, and that kind of bothers me, but I'm still okay with it. I decided to use the socks picture because I never, ever use that swatch. And I thought it kind of reminded me of like a little, of infant booties, and it was perfect for a nursery. So that's how I decided on the artwork for the room. Once I got the artwork up, I decided that I didn't really like the color I had chosen for this little Yeti guy or big Yeti guy. So I decided to change the color and I went with the white and blue swatch, and I think it's just adorable. I am like gushing over this room. I know I'm being ridiculous. I'm sorry. And now I'm going to start adding in some details like clutter and infant accessories. But first, of course, a light switch. I always forget to add these, and we definitely need one for that cloud light. So now I just have to get all the baby specific stuff in. So we're going to put some wipes on the dresser, and then I need to find that. Perfect. The one with the little stuffed animal. Okay, I agree. It's super cute, but also, why does it look like I sized it up even though I didn't? Today's video brought to you by the complaint of the day, because what Sims video would be complete without a complaint? I know I said I didn't want this room to be too stereotypically girly, but I did decide to go with the pink swatch for this one. And finally, I felt like this room really needed some curtains. I wanted something sheer, but I had a really hard time finding the right one because, see, I have this tendency whenever I'm building something in The Sims to think logically and like it's the real world. And logically, in real life, if you had an infant or a toddler, you wouldn't have curtains hanging to the floor because, one, it would be dangerous, and two, they'd be ripped down every day. Reminds me of a story, actually. One time my dad watched my niece when she was like 3 years old, and my sister said, "Never again." And also, where are my curtains? But here's the thing. I often have to give up on my real world ideals when I'm playing The Sims. And after much trial and error and a complete inability to find anything that I thought looked even slightly okay, I gave up. And not only did I go with a curtain that touches the floor, but I also went with one that was frilly. Just imagine cleaning poop splatters out of frills. So I finally decided to go with this absolutely adorable curtain from high school years. And I got my wish to have something sheer in the middle. But as good as I thought it looked, I still wasn't happy about it. The room just didn't quite look finished without curtains, in my opinion. And this is exactly the reason why I almost never put any curtains in any of my builds. Because they're always the wrong size or the wrong style, the wrong color. But also, I do realize that it seems like that's a me problem. Okay, it doesn't seem like. It is a me problem. But on that mildly narcissistic note, that, friends, is our story. And I hope you have a lovely day. Bye!